And you will never outperform your self-image. No matter what you do, you will always retract back to who you believe you are on a subconscious level. Okay? And today I'm going to be breaking this down a lot more fully. Okay? Welcome everybody. My name is MJ the Mastermind, and my channel is about self-development, law of attraction, and all things in between. Shout out to all my subscribers, all the new subscribers, man. Make sure to hit the notification bell so that you know when a new video is posted, man. And if you're watching this, tapping in for the first time, much love to you as well. So, the self-image, man. Let's talk about the self-image. And, you know, the self-image is a very, very important topic, you know, in the world of personal development. You know, I first learned about the self-image Maxwell Maltz talks about the self-image a lot. And man, I forgot, actually, I'm drawing a blank right now. Oh, psycho-cybernetics, sorry. So Maxwell Maltz talks about the self-image a lot in psycho-cybernetics. And it's a very, very important concept because the self-image is basically who you believe, I'll simplify it, who you believe you are on a subconscious level. And the reason why that's important is because you could think you believe you are someone, like just based on like who you believe you are, like whether it's your confidence, your pride, whatever, but that may not align with the person you believe you are on a subconscious level. And a lot of times people have this identity crisis because on one hand, their self-image is projecting one version of themselves, and on another hand, they believe that they're somebody else, in the sense that they believe, a lot of times we believe that we are much better than we actually are, okay? And this can cause a lot of people to not really get the results that they want in life because they're in a state of delusion, thinking that they're living in alignment and congruent with this ideal version of themselves, when in reality, their self-image does not align with that. Okay? And once you're able to really reprogram your self-image and really have a projection of your ideal self, you can almost put yourself on autopilot, right? Because you now start to think, act, and behave as that ideal self on a subconscious level, meaning that you don't necessarily have to think about as much what you're actually doing because you're automatically putting yourself in alignment, okay? But the process of reprogramming can be timely. And I think a lot of people aren't patient enough to just go through the process of reprogramming their subconscious mind and reprogramming their self-image, because we want it to happen so fast, right? We want it to happen so fast, but man, realistically speaking, like, you know, let's take the average 30-year-old, right? They've now lived 30 years of life. So they've gone through 30 years of programming. And if you want to start becoming a new, better version of yourself, if you want to start reprogramming your self-image and being more intentional with who you are and who you're becoming, then like, man, like it's something that you really have to sit down and really be intentional about, right? But for a lot of people, this can be really challenging, right? It can be, like I said, it can be timely because you're reprogramming 30 years of maybe bad programming, right? Because throughout life, there's so much that we get programmed with that changes our self-image, right? When you're young, you have no subconscious mind between the ages of 0 to 7. So your first 7 years of life, you're just a sponge. You're just being programmed by your environment. And this could cause you to pick up on certain things that may not be beneficial for you. These could be behaviors, habits, mindsets, beliefs that may not be congruent, but they were programmed into you by your environment. And this now continues for many, many years. You know, your home environment, your parents, your family, then school, right? Then TV, right? And now it's even getting worse because all of these kids got access to tablets and phones, and now they can just watch anything at any time and receive programming, right? That's why it's called TV programming. Like, I always thought it was interesting, like when I used to look at the TV guide many years ago, when I used to watch TV as a kid, if you were ever up late, what you'll notice is that it was called paid programming. Somebody let me know if they remember that. Like when you're like back in the day when you used to go to the TV, damn, am I that old? Fuck. Back in the day when you used to go to the TV guide and it was late and it was just paid advertisements, it wasn't like specific shows on, it was called paid programming. And the reason why I thought that was interesting the reason why I think it's interesting now is because it is paid programming. These companies are just paying to get access to your attention, especially late night where people might be sleeping and having the TV on when they're in a theta and delta state. It makes it a lot more easier to program. All right. And if you sleep with the TV on, that's very dangerous because you're getting programmed while you sleep. So don't do that. All right. Listen to affirmations and healing music while you sleep. That's what I recommend. All right. But we have to go through this process of reprogramming your self-image. And the first step of doing that is having clarity on who you want to be, because you have to reprogram it to something, right? You're creating a new program, you're creating a new identity, which means that you now have to be intentional with who you're becoming, okay? But the best part about the self-image is that once you actually nail down the programming, things become easier to be that version of yourself, right? So like for me, it's easy to go to the gym 6 days a week, work out 6 days a week, because now it's just a part of my programming. It's just a part of my programming. It's easy for me to read every day, read at least 10 pages of a book every day. It's just minimum. That's just a part of my programming, right? So when you start to reprogram your self-image and create these new standards, these new habits, new behaviors, and new mindsets and new beliefs, it starts to become easier to be that version of yourself. So in the beginning, it can seem difficult. It could seem like it requires more effort, more energy, because you're changing your identity. You're actually going through the reprogramming process, but I promise and trust me, it gets easier. It gets easier. Okay? So, guys, everyone, ladies, everyone, your self-image is your baseline of your identity. Your self-image is your baseline of your identity. Right? Everything that you do that you don't think about, when you're expressing who you are and your personality, that's just a part of your self-image. Your self-image exists in your subconscious mind. And another important thing is you can't hide from your self-image. So everything that you do, even things that cause guilt, things that cause regret, things that make you feel low energy, you can't hide from that. It's still going to be a part of your self-image, even though you think you may be doing it in private. You can't hide from who you are when the world isn't watching. Right? So be great in private, be great in public. Be consistent with your identity, be congruent with your ideal self. All right? Much love, everybody. Peace, love, and abundance. Continue to tap in, like, comment, subscribe. Much love to everybody. Talk to y'all soon. Until the next one.